Welcome tonight. My name is Michelle Constant. I am here tonight as a trustee of the Javet UP Art Centre, and I would like to welcome you on behalf of the University of Pretoria and also the Javet UP Art Centre. So I want to say thank you very much for joining us here tonight.
Over the past year, the Javet Art Centre at the University of Pretoria has undergone some major and exciting shifts, and with that comes a clear strategy of our desired future. This new direction is anchored in making the Javet UP a site that enhances unique transdisciplinary learning through the arts, that is focused on engaging diverse publics as we explore the human condition and reimagine our futures. 2022 program is multi-layered, rich in forms of knowledge production, ways of understanding our histories and heritage, and speaks to the changes in our strategy and focus. Javet UP will be known as the home of the mirrored faces of art from Pan-African perspectives. And we serve as the foremost living repository, preserving and showcasing our dynamic African heritage. Kicking off this year's program, and at the core of the 2022 program is Yakhal Inkomo, the Bongi Dhlomo Collection, curated by our dear friend and colleague Tumelo Mosaka, together with Sipho Mndanda and Phumzile Twala.
At the core of the Bongi Dhlomo Collection lies a challenge to create a collection of Black 20th century South African art from the perspective of an individual Black private collector. To state the obvious, as a result of apartheid, such collections do not generally exist. The Foundation's support for Bongi in putting together her collection is an attempt to respond to this absence. The collection is therefore intentionally an expression of her interests, her concerns, and her tastes, rather than that of the Foundation, or for that matter, an institutional committee. The project grew out of a recognition by Michael Javet, who founded the Javet Foundation, that his family's collection of 20th century South African art, what he really wanted to encourage was a collection that itself, as a whole, reflected what he termed the perspective of a particular Black eye. Thus was conceived the project that eventually became the Bongi Dhlomo Collection.
In 2017, to be asked to put together an amazing collection of artworks by Black artists who were working in the 20th century. One of the ways of doing that is going to artists' families, to homes, to private collectors, and see if they want to release some of their work from their collection. So I was using a ploy that, you know that your work is going to be part of a big new collection, and they let them go. And I thought I was just getting a few works, 60 at the most, 70. But when I got to 65, I said, oh, my project is ending. And he said, no, you are going to continue. So we continued until 2 weeks ago. Collecting never ends. So you've been invited to come back, but we are also inviting you to look at the work and say, oh, the piece that I have could fit in here. You are welcome to donate, you're welcome to approach us and see if we would like to get that. But there are a number of artists that are missing from the collection simply because of what I've said, that a lot of work was bought in the 80s and early 90s by public collecting institutions.
The opening of an exhibition is always an exciting moment. It pushes us to make the leap into the imagination of the creative spirit, and in one way or the other, we are affected. Irrespective of our social or political background, an exhibition compels us to react to what we see. It triggers a mindfulness that, no matter how grudgingly, is at once a response and an alteration of our perspective. Whether it is in the instant or occurs at some later stage, what we see becomes a part of what we are. And whether we know it or not, our sensibility is pulled in to reflect. It is changed by that new moment of perception. This exhibition, Yakhal Inkomo, is a collection of more than 100 works by South African artists working during the 1960 to 1990 period. It features some of the leading artists of our country. Like the rest of their black compatriots, they prevailed despite the iniquitous system of apartheid, which relegated them to the position of second-class citizens. It is my honor now to acknowledge the guest curator of this collection, the eminent Mr. Tumelo Mosaka. Mr. Mosaka, as already was mentioned, was assisted by Sipho Mndanda and Phumzile Twala. All the works on show here, as already been mentioned, were collected by Bongi Dhlomo Collection. It was the Javed Foundation who had confidence in Bongi's eye to make the selection you will see tonight. These works of art are the gift of the Javed Foundation to the students of the university, for the community, and for South Africa. We are able, through this gift, to see what gifted people have wrought from the multifarious experiences of our history together as South Africans. What the artist saw is what Bongi has collected for us to see. Here in our country, Yakhal Inkomo means the bellowing of the bull. In the law of South African music, this title is also associated with a 1968 jazz hit called Yakhal Inkomo by Winston Mankunku Ngozi. At a time when the cause of freedom was at its lowest point. It became an anthem of resistance and what one commentator has described as an expression of defiant joy in the face of unspeakable repression. The late Lindiwe Mabuza never failed to speak of art as a weapon against apartheid and against repression. Bongi asserts that culture is still a weapon of struggle, although the tools may be different. Today, we, as Bongi has already said, also celebrate Michael Javed, who made this exhibition possible in this amazing building named after him.
The Javed UP is a partnership between the University of Pretoria and the Javed Foundation, which share a firm belief in the intrinsic value of the arts for society and this links to a holistic educational experience, with one foot firmly rooted in academia and another embedded in the public. Javed UP is a collaborative, transdisciplinary space that aims to make Africa's art accessible, relevant, and engaging to local and international audience. Through art, we can critique the past, understand it, but also we can critique the present. Tonight, Javed UP proudly opens its latest exhibition, Yakhal Inkomo, which focuses on the Bongi Dhlomo Collection on long-term loan at the Javed UP. This collection is unique and educative assembly over 100 classical 20th century artworks produced by black artists in South Africa. These diverse artworks provide aesthetic glimpses into the personal and collective experience of South Africans during the tumultuous 20th century. The collection was formed to facilitate a meaningful dialogue between contemporary audiences and the country's recent history. And dialogue is the essence of life. And I'm very proud to say that our curator, Gabi Ngobo, at the heart of her curatorial practices and the things that she does here is those kinds of dialogues. They portend democracy, but they don't portend also easy discussions about uneasy matters. The title, which translates as Bellowing Bull, is borrowed from saxophonist and, as you heard, composer Winston Mankunku Ngozi's 1968 jazz piece. In this song, the metaphor of the bellowing bull, crying to be rescued before slaughter, stood for the victimhood of black people suffered under apartheid. The musical composition Yakhal Inkomo captured the sound, expressed the mood and feeling of suffering through the rhythms and sound of the horn. The bellowing bull cannot be silenced. We look forward to creating meaningful engagement with all young and old as they make way to the heart of art at the Javed Art Center at the University of Pretoria.
The Javed Art Center at the University of Pretoria.